Well, this is going to be one for the money, two for the show, because we're talking movies. We're talking Elvis, starring Tom Hanks, Austin Butler, Olivia Dion, written by Jeremy Donner, Craig Pearce, Sam Bromwell, and Baz Luhrmann, who also directed. The Snowman Strikes Again.
Now, I don't know nothing about music, but I could see in that girl's eyes, he was a taste of forbidden fruit. She could have eaten him alive. Hey, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of How'd You Like That Movie? We are talking about the new release 2022 edition of Elvis, as directed and co-written and produced by Baz Luhrmann. Scott, take us away.
All right. One, I'm really glad that neither one of us did that really bad Tom Hanks impression when we're doing the quotes very well.
And we didn't do any and by we I mean me, any bad Elvis singing.
Sure enough. First, thank you to everyone listening to our 100th episode, especially if you are counting our re-release of The Godfather when Chris, was too busy to talk to us. But
and it was Goodfellas. We haven't even done The Godfather, so that's fucking awesome.
Yeah. That was the whole
People
point.
are like, where's the Godfather episode? It's like, oh, sorry, checks in the mail.
That was the whole point. Like, I was trying to get them to go back and listen to 100 episodes. Like, where was the Godfather one?
You got to tell me this stuff, man. You got to tell me this stuff.
That's why we're comedy gold.
Well, we're at least comedy bronze.
Yeah, true enough. Or copper, whatever's worse. But in terms of this film,
what's your background right now? It looks like it's like some type of like a dinosaur or something in the back there. Like, what's that big, tall thing in your background?
I don't even know, man. I just Googled Zoom background.
You're like, oh, I'm live recording here from Jurassic Park.
Yeah, it might be Jurassic Park. I don't know. I just did Zoom backgrounds, right?
With this red thing behind me, I feel like I'm in some type of like fascist dystopian film, like V for Vendetta or something like that. I'm like speaking to the masses. Oh.
But anyways, about this film, like, come on.
Did you like it?
I did like it. I do think this
you like all that grinding and pelvic thrusting and like
that, but also I do think this is going to be a contender come Oscar season.
Oh, okay. Let's dig into that a bit. Is it good to give me what it's going to be a contender for? Are we talking best picture, best actor, like in a leading role? Like, I think definitely in a lot of the.
I think in terms of the technical side, I think it's going to get editing, because the one thing I did appreciate was how they mixed in the actual Elvis footage with Austin Butler portraying, and even sometimes with the editing when they split it to like 3 screens, where one of the
screens it was hard to tell, like,
who was
Elvis. Did they kind of Forrest Gump it, where they basically create fake old footage? Is it actually Elvis? Stuff like that, right?
Yeah, like I did appreciate that. So I do think it'll get nominated for the technical. Now,
and same with like stuff like production design, makeup. I mean, we'll have to see what comes out between now and the end of like December, when the cutoff for the Oscars is, around like set dressing and costume design and stuff like that. Because costumes are beautiful, but I mean, if you have a bunch of period pieces that come out, you may not.
Yeah, like into Downtown Abbey or whatever that is, right? Like, that's probably gonna get nominated for some of the shit. But in terms of acting, I'm gonna say I think Austin Butler is gonna win.
So we're in fucking July, and some of the big Oscar films will come out in like late December, and you're like, it's fucking done.
Okay, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Go.
Okay, so let's take a break.
You didn't do very well on this year's Oscars because Chris used Science.
Anyways, okay, so I'm gonna take a break. We're gonna give it a moment. Baz Luhrmann, hear me out since you're producing this. What you're gonna want to do to guarantee that Austin Butler win is you want to pull a little quitting, and you're now gonna switch Hanks from supporting to main, and you put Butler as supporting, and then he takes it, just like DiCaprio and Brad Pitt. You switch it over and you're like, no, Butler's technically, because narration, everything, you can make the case that Tom Hanks is actually the main, because everything's from technically the Colonel's perspective.
Ooh.
In which now you switch it over, Butler becomes best supporting,
gets and then wins it, gets an Oscar.
Exactly. And that's Oscar politics.
You're talking like Oscar strategy, like
exactly.
How you list. That's not. I mean, that's not a bad. It's actually not a bad angle. It'd be hard for him to, like, Austin Butler to be like, I'm like, so you almost have to go to him like, so do you want a nomination or do you want an Oscar? Because you could probably get nominated, but you may not win. But if we do it this way, you definitely win. But then you have to kind of admit that the movie called Elvis, where you play Elvis, is somehow not about you.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, in terms of even, and I think that's what they did well, because everything is from technically Tom Hanks' character's perspective of the Colonel.
100%. Right? Until like even after Elvis dies, you know what I mean? So, by the way, spoiler alert, Elvis dies.
What? No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
But yeah, and I think that's how they can do it, right? And kind of win, like, because, like, I'll be honest, I don't think Tom Hanks is going to win anything for this portrayal.
So I thought I want to talk about Tom Hanks a bit, just on this topic of Tom Hanks. I don't know why I just jumbled that together. Yeah, I did. First off, I did not like his casting, although I'm assuming it was more of a Hollywood casting, in the sense of, by putting Tom Hanks in there, you get the studio on board, which gets you the money. Sort of like, you get Tom Hanks and then the project goes forward. You don't have Tom Hanks, maybe the project doesn't happen. But I thought he was miscast. I think there's better actors, and I can't actually think of any off the top of my head that I would actually replace him with, because I should have probably thought about that, but
yeah, research. It's your own opinion, and you're like, there's other people that can do it, but I have no idea.
But I mean, like, but the reality is that he did not do a very good job, and he's bad with the accent. So the accent slips, and I mean, some could argue, oh, his accent slipping because the Colonel is in reality is a fictitious character, like the person made up who the Colonel was, but he falls back into his Tom Hanks voice. Right, his like natural voice.
We are the same, you and I. We are two odd, lonely children reaching.
And it was very jarring when it would happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I will say, like, how you're saying, like, I didn't actually appreciate the casting of Tom Hanks in this, and the main reason is because this is the first film I can think of in a very, very long time that he's the villain. Like, he's not fucking lovable Tom Hanks. Like, you fucking hate him throughout this film.
Move this man!
And he does a good job in, like, actually, like, projecting that, like, oozing that, in which, like, he's a bad motherfucker. Like, when he gets fired and he's like, all right, he wants to fire me, let's do this. Gas from here to here. This
forever.
Yeah. He's like, I kept everything, kind of thing. Well, I'm assuming because it's a biography, that's actually what happened. But the way he did it, the way he oozed it, kind of thing, that's what I kind of enjoyed. In terms of it, I'm just saying, like, in terms of his performance, it wasn't anything, like you said in all our previous Oscar ones, it wasn't a performance that went, like, above and beyond, where you're like, oh my God, like, that was acting. It wasn't, hey, this is somebody doing their job. right? Like I still thought he did a good job.
Sure.
And I appreciated him in reality taking a risk in which he's now playing a villain where he is, you know, usually lovable fucking Tom Hanks.
He was my destiny.
Taking big risk at this part in your career in a Baz Luhrmann film with a, you know, $70 million budget or whatever.
Listen,
like $85 million budget.
Like he has 2 Apple movies, man. He could have gone for 3 instead of making this one.
Well, just think about this though. Like it's like, it's not exactly a risk because he plays a bad guy. Like it's not like he was playing a, you know, junkie hooker murderer that, you know, mainlines crystal meth and stuff. Like let's be realistic here.
Let's get that film greenlit first, right? You just call it Forrest Humps.
Hire this man.
Forrest Humps. with Tom Hunks. Because he's acting under his porn name, Tom Hunks.
Go ahead.
But Austin Butler is amazing in this. Like amazing. And again, I'm sure there's like Elvis aficionados and some of the criticism I saw about this film has to do with the fact that it's very popcorn, candy corn. I don't know why, like candy coated, not candy corn. Fucking candy corn is awful. And it doesn't, you know, dig into like the nuances of who Elvis is. And this was the same thing that was leveled at Bohemian Rhapsody and a lot of biopics, right? So take that aside, like I don't really give a shit about the fact that it's not a serious Elvis movie. It's beautiful to watch. And he is amazing. Like he is his movements, it's like, and then his the singing, the early Elvis singing is him singing. His acting ability as Elvis, like, you know, not only gets older, but different aspects of his life. He was mesmerizing on that. Like I would almost be willing to say that I would just keep him in Best Actor because I think he could win. Like he's so good.
I think you go with like I said, I think you go with the guarantee. You don't think he can win. You go with the guarantee that a motherfucker is gonna win.
Baby, we don't fuck around.
Yeah, be like, fuck it. If somebody can get a Best Oscar film because they're only in 12 minutes, and if fucking Brad Pitt can do it, and the whole fucking Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is literally following him the whole movie, and he can be Best Supporting, I say you go with that. But
yeah. So did you like him? Did you think he did a good job or?
Yeah, I thought he did. I thought he did a really good job. I will say, I did make a mistake when watching this film though.
Oh,
because
didn't you watch it in the theater? I don't know how you.
Yeah. But I got me the super large drink. That by halfway through, I'm like, I really need to pee, but I'm like, I can't
leave the movie.
Yeah, so literally the minute the fucking credits rolled and I saw a film directed by Baz Luhrmann, I got up and ran. And then while I'm running to the door, I'm hearing like fucking Elvis talking and shit. I'm like, okay, so I'm missing like a mid-credit scene or something like that. I'm like, but that was my one mistake by going to this fucking long ass movie. I should have checked to see how long it actually was before going. But I will say there's little things that Luhrmann did in terms of the visualization and everything like that.
Hold on. I want to finish talking about Austin Butler though and his casting. Like, so you liked him again? Just to backtrack here.
Yeah.
So you did like him cast as Elvis.
I did, and I really did appreciate like when we had the conversation off topic that you had no idea what other movies this guy was in, and I had to explain it to you.
And one was a Tarantino film. Like,
yeah.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like
he was Tex. Yeah.
So I know how he got cast, but it's crazy because his like you said, so Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, he had he played Tex. He's in The Dead Don't Die. He's in Kevin, and I am now going to go watch this film just because he was in the Kevin Smith film Yoga Hosers.
Yeah.
Which stars Kevin Smith's daughter and Johnny Depp's daughter, and Johnny Depp is in it, and it's part of his trilogy, like the Northern series or Northern
the
trilogy.
Canadian North series.
Yeah. But he's also going to be in the second part of Dune. So I'm like, he's done a ton of TV, but a lot of these shows, like I don't even recognize them. But so he's worked with Villeneuve, Jarmusch.
He's about to work with Villeneuve. They haven't actually started filming yet.
So he's going to work with Villeneuve. He's worked with Jarmusch, and he's worked with Tarantino and Baz Luhrmann. I'm like, are you fuck? like how does this shit fucking happen? And it looks like it was.
So what
Denzel
are you
Washington.
saying? Wait, are you saying he's now going to be your new Timothy Chalamet, and what you're like, fuck this guy?
No, because this guy has fucking range, and Timothy Chalamet or Chalamet or whatever the fuck his name is sort of like who's that other guy I don't like? Oh, Jesse Plemons, fucking same fucking face, no range, cast and everything, people going crazy, and it's like I don't know what you guys are going crazy about. But it was so these were the people that were actually also up for the part of Elvis. Ansel Elgort. Go ahead.
Can I just say one thing?
Yep.
The views just expressed are Chris and Chris alone's. Scott has nothing against Timothy Chalamet or Jim Plemons. Please address your hate mail to Chris. Now continue.
Okay, so we got Ansel Elgort, Miles Teller, Aaron Taylor Johnson, and Harry Styles. Those were people that were like in the role running for Elvis. And Luhrmann actually was Butler was recommended by Denzel Washington to Luhrmann, and he basically kind of locked himself down after just one of his audition tapes of him singing Unchained Melody. Like, so that's crazy. Like I can't see Miles Teller in this role. Maybe it's because now I've
then
seen
he wouldn't have been he wouldn't have been Rooster if he was in this role.
So yeah, you were going to talk about Baz Luhrmann's editing, cinematography, the way the aesthetic of it.
Like some of the choices he made I really appreciate. One was obviously at the beginning of the film, you see like when he's doing like this, I don't know how to explain it, but like it's fucking Luhrmann. Like it's like when I see it, I think of him, but it's like when the camera movement's like really fast and it's like like moving like into one like piece of set to another kind of thing, that kind of like, and it's the
like
highlight,
almost like a carousel, like it's spinning around, like boom, boom, boom.
And I every time I see it, I think of him. But it's like technically Birth of Elvis. You see his birth certificate, his middle name has 1A. And then made sure at the end of the film to highlight when it's the gravestone, his middle name has 2 A's, which kind of addresses that whole conspiracy that it's not really Elvis never really died kind of thing, right? It's like a little nod on that, and I thought it was super interesting.
Oh shit, buddy, I gotta dig a little deeper.
The other one was what I was saying before, is which when they do the performances, right? And then he does the it's like whatever lens he's using that's like fucking super HD clear. And you probably have like it on
spherical, like a really short spherical lens or whatever.
And then he's on Austin, and then it changes to like, oh, now it's him on TV, and it's like the grainy filter, and then and it's literally like you do double takes, because sometimes when they do switch,
you can't, you're trying to decide if it's actually Elvis.
Because he does put in Elvis footage in there, right? Like he does switch it a bunch of times, where sometimes it is Austin, sometimes it is Elvis. And I think what you're saying before, like the amount of dedication, like I don't know how many times they had to do those takes in which Austin's movements had to match perfectly with the actual archival footage of Elvis, so that way they are able to switch back and forth without technically anybody really noticing, right?
To get that continuity, right?
But I do think he will get nominated for director as well, Luhrmann. I think that's going to be a given.
I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up as a best picture nod, at least, or at least especially
when it's like 10 or 12 films that are going to be nominated, right? I think you do have a good case where this will be one of them, right?
Sure.
because there's always that one midsummer one that gets in there. And I already said the Batman's gonna get thrown in there already. So we already have 2 best picture nods that I'm already projecting in there.
So do you like Baz Luhrmann's work? Normally?
I do. Great Gatsby's really good. And I know you don't like it, but I find Moulin Rouge like super fucking enjoyable. Only because using all the 90s popular songs and everything at the time and kind of like throwing them into a musical kind of thing, like watching all these old men sing Nirvana's fucking Teen Spirit was fun as shit.
Which is similar. So it's funny because I really like that in Romeo and Juliet. Like I still think Romeo and Juliet is actually his best film. I mean, I haven't seen Australia. I've seen the trailer and stuff for it. So some of his films that aren't kind of in this style, like the really opulent, musically driven, almost like dreamlike kind of films. So I haven't watched really any of his, like I think it might be Australia, might be the only one that's like that. So I think Romeo and Juliet is still his like best film. Everything's like fucking firing on all cylinders. And the music works in that, in Romeo and Juliet. And then in Moulin Rouge, it took me right out of the film. And I very much did not like Moulin Rouge. The Great Gatsby is good. I think it's fine. Like it's not, I have neither a negative or a positive opinion really of it. So I would put this one second. And the only thing I didn't like about this is when they used like current 2022, like hip hop and stuff like that. I thought that was unnecessary. The entire time period that you have Elvis operating, both his music and the contemporary music of the time is way fucking better. Like just use that. Like you don't, I get it. It's a creative choice. It doesn't work. It's jarring. It pulls you out of the scene. So like when Elvis is back down on Beale Street, you know, it's fucking Beale Street, man. Just stick with the fucking blues. Like you don't need to have Cardi B or whoever the fuck is singing hip hop over top of it. It's fucking weird. Just don't do it. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do know what you mean.
That said, I do like there's a cover of a mashup of Jack White and Elvis. But remember, Jack White plays bluesy rock and roll, right? So if you're going to do it, just stay with artists that are in that vein.
Okay, I get what you're saying, but what I was going to say, let me tell you something, Chris. I'm a novice in this field of entertainment and award winning, but I believe one category is best original song. So they're going to throw about 30 fucking songs at you, especially in a movie, and then be like, man, Cardi B Vegas, best song. Smoking dope. Okay. Right? Like they gotta throw shit in there because something, you know, a producer likes that I hear about all the time is, you know, being on a film that wins a lot of rewards or gets nominated, right? Like a short little film like Unsolicited, where it's just constantly getting nominated and picked up on the festival things. And then, you know, every week you just see that producer's head get a little bit bigger. Like, especially when you see the zoom on his podcast, he's always a lot closer, but it's not choice. It's just his head is getting a lot bigger.
So yeah, thanks for the plug. Hopefully you'll, anybody listening, we will be in Winnipeg sometime in October for the Canadian International Comedy Film Festival. Yes, Unsolicited is going to be there. I will be there. Scott may be there. The rest of our cast might be there as well. But back to music, one of the things I did like is often rock and roll history, I mean, it's getting better, is whitewashed, you know, the fact that like Elvis is the king of rock and roll and blah, 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 blah. But the reality is that he came up with this, you know, some of the best blues artists out there, you know, people, and like you see, so B.B. King is in this film. And I believe that Elvis actually refers to him as the king of rock and roll, right? So it's not just like a throwaway line about, you know, oh, black artists. They actually have actors. They are playing. They're part of the story that is Elvis. You know, he's a white guy, but he's singing black music. yeah, that was the shtick, but they do give the proper credit to the original Black, like R&B and blues artists that rock and roll came out of. And I thought that was really, really important.
Yeah,
And
there's
I'm glad they did it.
there's even the line where you see Little Richard perform.
Yeah.
And then Elvis is in
Kind
the
of steal
room.
some of his style, right?
Well, not only that, but he was like, oh my God, I wish I can license that and sing that song. And I think it was what was the song he was singing?
Isn't it the one
Little
from Predator?
Susie? No, it's like Little Susie.
Oh,
Yeah.
Rudy. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was singing that, and then Elvis is like, yeah, he was like, oh, I wish I could do that. And then BB King's like, if you do that, you'll make 100 times more than this poor kid's ever gonna make on this, right? And it's that nod, like that acknowledgement that, yeah. And they even say that he's like, you're not going to jail. He was like, I might go to jail.
I might go to jail for walking down the street, but you're a rich white artist. Nothing's happening to you. Too many people are making money off you.
Yeah. And then you see it. And then that's why Elvis is like, you know what? I'm going to do what he says. Like, he takes BB King's advice and he does what he does. And then he ends up in the army.
Yeah. So it's got a running time of 2 hours and 40 minutes. Did it feel long to you, other than the fact that you had to pee?
No, like it like if I didn't have to pee, it wouldn't have felt long. But that was the thing, that it connected A to B very good. It was a entertaining through line that while what they did with the editing, like, you are entertained the whole time. There wasn't, like, to me, I didn't find there was a lag in anything, right? And like, they humanized a lot about, like, you heard constantly about Elvis's love of his mom and Graceland and everything like that. But then, you know, seeing it play through and why she was so overprotective with, you know, his dead twin brother, I believe it was, right?
Luckily, he didn't die in a machete fight.
What?
I just rewatched Walk Hard. Where he kills his brother in a machete fight.
Like, why?
Why? Because Walk Hard, and specifically, is them making fun of biopics, specifically music biopics, right? You know,
Yes.
Do the same thing. Johnny Cash, his brother dies when he's young, and Elvis's brother dies. Well, I mean, I don't know if he even really was born, but his twin dies. You know what I mean? So, anyway, sorry, fucking tried to be witty there, and you didn't help me there. So keep going.
You're talking about fucking, like, prenatal death. Like, how is that even a joke?
God, he's a bigger buzzkill than Buzz Killington.
That's a Halloween episode joke.
And on our Halloween episode, remember, we're going to be doing our Hot Ghouls of Halloween special. So you'll want to pay attention to when those episodes come out. Yeah, keep going, Scott.
Yeah. Nice pre-plug for 4 months from now. But yeah, it was entertaining a lot. I do recommend this film, not only if you're a Luhrmann fan, musical fan, or even a biopic fan. I think if you're just into entertainment, this film is going to entertain you. And 100%. I think it is a film that can be rewatched multiple times.
Do you think it's going to translate to the small screen? Like if you were watching this on your laptop.
No, I get what you're saying, but that is kind of like Luhrmann, like none of his films, all of his films that I have watched have all been the big screen, right? And I don't really watch them much on TV or anything like that. Even if I'm entered, like Great Gatsby, I think I've only watched once on TV when it was on. But yeah, even Moulin Rouge, I don't revisit very often because, yeah, like I think the way he films, and he's one of these directors that, like, not only the projection of the screen, but how the sound in a theater, like, it's perfectly mixed for a theater.
Yeah.
Right. So, but, you know, if you're a big Hollywood director and you have 100, inch screen with booming sound, surround sound, I think you can watch it at home. Yes.
Or you're Quentin Tarantino and you own a movie theater.
Yeah, you can be like, fuck it, I feel like watching Elvis right now. But question for you before we finish here: how does, like, in terms of just musical biopics, where would you put this one?
I mean, it's very good. And I would agree with you. It's hyper entertaining. So like, if you're not looking for like deep dive into like Elvis the man, actually, I'm gonna use my quote and then I'll answer this. So Allison Gilmore from the Winnipeg Free Press.
Boom, can.
Yes, can. Opulent and over the top, dazzling and dizzy. This new Baz Luhrmann biopop Fantasia never takes us closer to Elvis the man, but wow, it sure understands Elvis the spectacle. Exactly. Hyper entertaining. It's got a decent amount of music in it. I mean, some biopics will put more like actual music, like, Ray, you actually see him play like an entire song and stuff. I mean, you can go back and see, like, there's The Doors, like Val Kilmer playing Jim Morrison was also very, very good. I don't know, man. It's good. It's very, very good. I probably don't have enough experience with musical biopics. I don't know. Compare this or Bohemian Rhapsody. I would take this over Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, I agree. Like, this would be in a top 5 for me.
Top 5 out of 4 movies or something, or what?
Yeah, no, top 5. Like, in terms of musical biopics, I would put this one up there. Like, my number 1 to this day is still La Bamba with fucking Lou Diamond Phillips.
Oh, La Bamba. I was like, what's La Bamba?
I said La Bamba.
La Bamba.
La Bamba. Yeah, with Lou Diamond Phillips. That was my number 1.
Yeah. That might be number 1 or number 2. Like I said, I really like Jim Morrison, like the Val Kilmer in The Doors. I forgot about La Bamba. Okay. Anyway, so it's got.
You could have just left.
You didn't do any more talking. So it's made 85 million. It's made 75 million against an $85 million budget. It is in first place right now. It finally knocked Top Gun Maverick out of the first place spot. So that's impressive. I think it's also impressive that Top Gun Maverick was in first place for 30 days straight. 78% from the critics, 94% from the audience. Director of photography is Mandy Walker. So she worked with Baz on Australia. She also did Red Riding Hood, the live action Mulan, and Hidden Figures. And then he works with 2 editors on this film, Matt Villa and co-editor, and he has a co-editor, which I, for some reason, didn't put in my notes. So we're not even going to talk about editing. But both his editors, both his fucking editors, worked on The Great Gatsby, and then his co-editor worked on the Get Down TV show, which I forgot was Baz Luhrmann, which again was a fucking weird show, and it's unfortunate because I think the origin stories of hip hop deserved better than they got with what Baz Luhrmann did. I think that was one of his biggest fall down failures is the Get Down. So Baz, get out of the Get Down.
Yeah, I'll say I've never watched the Get Down at all, so I cannot comment on it. But let's just go back to that.
It's Jonathan Redman. Jonathan Redman is his co-editor.
That's some good IMDb searching right there while you're mumbling about fucking the Get Down. I loved it. I was even trying to buy some time. Like, I've never watched it. But that was good. I think we should just end it there.
Yeah. Let's do it.
And that is our wrap for the day. Please like and subscribe to this podcast. Tell your friends. If you want to get a hold of us, reach us at the www.howdyoulikethatmovie.com. you're gonna sit there, you're gonna go back, and you're gonna watch Maverick again just for those fucking firefights, right?
Well, I've already seen it
but
twice.
You're
so.
not. Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, you're not the only one. A lot of people are going on because it's like, that's fucking amazing what they did. Right?
I thought it was because they listened to our podcast where we talked about how you have to watch it in the theater. So that's actually driving people back into the seats, keeping it in that top number 1 and number 2 position.
Yeah, we're not getting any money from Tom Cruise. So.
Tom, if you're listening and you want to throw us some of that jingle jangle.
I can't feel my face when I'm with you either, Tom. But
Production by Rod Shaver, Vader Monkey Productions.